Good morning, students. Welcome to my English language class. Today we are going to study the chapter on tense. But before we go any further into it, I'd like to slightly recap on verbs. Now, verbs are called action words and they are often referred to as the most important part in a sentence. You will notice that you can make a sentence without a noun or a pronoun, adjectives, conjunctions. These are not so essential to a sentence. But try making one without a verb. You can't. So, what is it that makes a verb so important? Sentence over here. Ravi works very hard. So, the word works over here is the verb. Now, what is it that the word works tells us? It tells us the name of the action that is being performed. It tells when the action is happening. That is the time of the action. It's happening now or in the present times. It also tells that the subject is singular. Okay, so because the letter S over here suggests that the subject is singular. Now let us see this second sentence. Ravi and Sumit work very hard. So what is the word work revealing over here? Again, the name of the action, the time when the action is being performed, and now it tells us that the subject is plural. How do we know that? Because the letter S is not attached, is not written with the verb work. Now let us take a look at this third sentence. Ravi worked very hard. So what has happened over here? The word work, it has become worked over here. What again does it reveal? Again, it reveals the name of the action. And this time it tells us that the action happened at an earlier time. So what do you think is common in all these three sentences? The fact that the verb is revealing the name of the action and the time of the performance of the action. That is what is revealed by this. So we will study tense. We will study tense today through this manner. So today we are going to talk about the time action combination. Now your textbooks will take you through every part as a separate chapter. But these are not separate chapters. They are all integrated and all interrelated with one another. Hence, I am going to give you a discussion, a bird's eye view. Like I'll be discussing it in with a bird's eye view. So let us study these tenses through timelines. In the first case, you will notice over here, I have drawn a timeline and I have marked out the present moment is now. So any action happening at the present time is represented as works. So it is happening in the present times. This is called present tense. In the second timeline, this is the present moment now. An action which has happened at an earlier point of time, a point or a period of time before the present, will be represented as worked, ed. This is called past. And the third example, the third timeline shows a point of time, a point or a period of time after the present. So this is the present moment, an action that happens that is supposed to happen at a point of time after the present moment, that will be written as will work. In this chart, I have written down some verbs and as they are written in the different tenses. So the base verb work, the word work in the base form is written as this, which becomes works or work in the present tense depending on whether the subject is singular or plural. In the past, it becomes worked. In the future, it is written as will work or shall work. Similarly, eat becomes eats or eat depending on whether the subject is singular or plural. It is written as ate in the past tense and will eat in the future tense. So it is with the be verbs. Is and are in the present tense, was and were in the past tense, will or shall in the future tense. Dance, just as the previous examples, dances or dance for the present tense depending on whether the subjects are singular or plural, danced for the past tense, and will dance for the future tense. Now you will notice that the present and the past forms of the verbs have specific words to suggest these tense. Now what do I mean by this? See, there is a specific word. The word from work, it changes to works. It changes to worked. But in future tense, you do not see any change in the base verb. Look at the second example. Eat becomes eats or eat, ate in the past tense. So we are seeing that present and past forms of the verbs have specific words to suggest the tense, but in the case of future tense, we find that the base verb is used. So what we do to suggest future tense is will or shall is added to the base form of the verb. Let us take a look at some examples. The first example over here is written in simple present tense. I go to school regularly. This same sentence, when it is written in the past tense, it becomes I went to school regularly last year. And the same sentence becomes I will go to school regularly from next week. So we see go belongs to the present category, went belongs to the past category, and will go belongs to the future category of tenses. Next, we shall be talking about ongoing action, which is also called continuous tense. So let us take a look at this timeline over here. You see, this is the present moment marked as now, and the sentence I have written over here is I am reading a book now. So what does this mean? This means that the action started sometime before the present moment. It continued through all this time. It's still going on and will end sometime after the present moment. So again, I'm repeating, the action started sometime before the present moment. It continued through all this time, still going on, and will end sometime after the present moment. This is called present continuous. Similarly, this second example that I have given over here represents a timeline where, say, now is 12 noon. Say I've given an example that the time now is 12 noon. And I'm talking about a time which was earlier than 12 noon, earlier than the present moment, which I've marked as, say, 10 a.m. So what has happened over here? You can see the picture over here. This shows that the action started sometime before a time in the past. It continued through the time and ended sometime after the specified time. So the action started before 10 a.m., continued till 10 a.m., continued after that, and then ended sometime after 10 a.m. So look at the example over here. I was reading when you called me. So there are two verbs over here, was reading and called. Called is written in simple past tense. Say, supposing you called me at 10 a.m. What was I doing at that time? When you called me, I was reading. So my action of reading the book had begun before 10 a.m., continued till the time you called, and continued after also. I spoke to you, and then after that, I continued reading the book and ended it sometime afterwards. So this is called past continuous. In the next example, which we call the future continuous tense, mark how this is pointed out in the timeline. This is the present moment, which I have marked as 12 noon as an example, and a time in future, that is 3 p.m. So the action begins sometime before 3 p.m., it continues through 3 p.m. and ends after 3 p.m. So the action has not yet started. It has not yet started because I must say that this is the time is the time is noon. It has not started. The action has not started. It will start sometime in future and will continue till 3 p.m. It will cross the time and the action will end sometime after 3 p.m. So this is future continuous tense. Look at the example over here. I will be reading at 3 in the afternoon. So the specified point of time is 3 p.m. Now what do I expect to be doing at that point of time? I will be reading. I will start reading before 3 p.m. and continue through the time, and my action of reading the book or whatever will end after 3 p.m. So children, if you remember, I was writing a chart in a previous portion. Over there, you will notice if I continue to write over there, now we have studied continuous tense. So present continuous is written as is, am or are reading. Past continuous is written as was or were reading. And future continuous will be written as will be reading. So is, am or are, depending on the subject, whether the subject is singular, plural, or if the subject is I. Was or were is written again considering whether the subject is singular or plural. And as I had told earlier, future tense does not have any specific word to suggest specific word. Therefore, it will be reading. So much for today's lesson, children. We are going to continue with perfect tenses in the next lesson. Thank you. Have a nice day.